All right, were you ready to do this?
I am ready like Schmedley.
I don't think that's a real thing.
Schmedley? Sure it is. It's in a Scrabble word. 48 points. Triple word score.
Welcome to the show with no name. My name is Daniel. It's short for Daniel. His name is B. It's short for Brendan. And B, I have a question. Well, actually, I have a story to tell you first before I ask you a question. So a lot of times the topics and the things that we talk about usually have something to do with what's going on in our lives at that time. At least to some aspect it does. And I've told you a little bit about this already, but we haven't really talked about it all that much. But I have been looking for a new job recently. And as part of any
Does
job...
your boss listen to this show by any chance? You know this?
Actually, no. I don't know if he listens to this show or not. I'm assuming not. But by the time
I do a podcast. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever. Do your job, man.
By the time this is released, hopefully I'll have a new job.
Amen
and it's not
to
to say that I hate my job. You know, I don't want anybody to think that I don't like the job that I have. I love my job. It's just I would rather be doing, other things. I'd like to find something else that challenges me. I don't feel as challenged anymore as I did before when I first took on this job. So I want to find something different. And I've been looking around, and like every job that you look for, to get to said job, you have to go through an interview process. I was so out of practice for this interview that I just had recently for another job. I couldn't remember what to say or how to answer certain questions. So I thought, as a fun experiment, I would interview you for a role of your choice. So I'm going to give you 3 roles that you get to choose from, and you get to choose which position you're being hired for. And then I'm going to ask you some of the most common asked interview questions.
Just like fireman. What is your biggest fear? Fire? I hate fire. So why do you want the job again?
Why do you want the job? You're afraid of fires, you say? No. So I like to always relate things back to Texas if we can. If we can bring it back to Texas, I always like bringing it back to Texas. You already know how much I love Texas. Listeners of this show hopefully already know how much we like Texas. You even love Texas.
Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't. Why would people not love Texas?
I'm pretty sure there are some people who don't like Texas.
They just don't get it.
Or don't like us.
That's true.
Well, if they don't like us, then why are they listening to us?
Some people just love to hate. They do. They're like,
you're absolutely right.
I watch the Yankees because I want them to lose, kind of thing, right? And you're like, come on, man, just go watch your team, or whatever. All right, watch the Lakers because I hate Kobe. Right? They do that. They don't. No, people do that.
It sounds so bad because I'm the exact same way when it comes to college football. There's teams that I'll watch, and I'm just watching them because I want to see them lose. That sounds so horrible.
Sports brings out the worst in people and the best.
It absolutely does. I don't really want to talk about sports on this show, though. I think there's enough sports podcasts out there.
We've touched on sports here and there in some of the shows.
I don't remember us touching on sports. When did we talk about sports?
You talked about Michael Phelps when we did world records.
Oh, that's true.
And I think that's probably about it. Anyway,
this is assuming that we released the world records episode.
Did I fail the interview already?
Yep, you already failed. I'm sorry, we're sending you back to unemployment. Okay, so here are the things. I want to give you some job titles for what you're applying for, and then you get to decide which one you want to go towards. And then I'm going to ask you. It's going to be the same questions. It's the same questions, but
so are these? So hold on. So are these pertinent job titles? Because the one I have now totally doesn't even describe what I do.
That's true. Well, I'll let you. You can make it up as ever. You can make it up for whatever you want it to be.
Okay, all right.
But I think they're pretty easy. You'll hear the title and you're like, okay, I know what that is.
Does the interviewer mind if I cough during the interview? Just every time he's got to check mark box.
Where's my pen? I'm just gonna click this. Just coughs loudly during interviews.
You will be a nuisance in meetings. Who says I'm going to attend the meetings?
Do not sit next to. Give him his own cubicle. Play loud music in earbuds.
That's right, exactly.
While he's here.
Yeah, put him in the broom closet. Here's your office.
Give him some cold medicine. So here are the job titles that you get to choose. Like I said, we don't have to go through all of them. We just have to go through one of them. And I'm going to ask, some of the most commonly asked interview questions. And just in case anybody wants to know where I'm pulling this source up from, because I feel like we do have a lot of source material in some of our podcasts, and we don't always say where we're getting the material from.
That's true.
We just throw out facts and just say, and we just hope that people trust
the web, man.
The internet. The internet is great. This is from Forbes.com, so I'm pretty sure people can, can know that this is legit. So these are some of the. In fact, the article that I'm reading, and if you guys want to look this up, this is called the 50 most common interview questions. Now, I'm not going to ask all 50 because 50 is ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, no, 50 is ridiculous. And some of these.
Or you get your hair cut.
Well, some of these I don't even understand. Like number 42, what are your hobbies? I don't ever remember sitting in an interview and someone's like, hey, what do you do for fun? What do you do outside of here? Like, I could see how.
True. I've been asked that after I've been hired by my boss.
Yeah, exactly. But never before.
Right.
I don't know. That just seems, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to get off topic. I want to get back on. So I mentioned Texas. One of the things that Texas is known for, and everyone in Texas knows about it, is that we are home to the most amazing ice cream company in the world, Bluebell Ice Cream. And if you're not from Texas, then you just don't know. But if you're from Texas, you know that Bluebell is amazing. Well, unfortunately, Bluebell has had a lot of issues recently with a listeria breakout. And they've shut down their headquarters, and then they've relaunched it, and then they've had to shut down again. So in that current state, you are applying, this is the first one you can choose. You're applying for the CEO of Bluebell Ice Cream Incorporated. So that's the first one you get to choose from. Second one, everyone should know this one. You are applying for a checkout person at a local Walmart. And the third and final one, and I know we try not to bring, politics or anything like that into this, but the third one, you're applying to be Trump's lead advisor in his presidential campaign.
I thought the third one would be like you're applying to be an actor in the Star Wars film. Since we brought up Star Wars in every episode.
We do bring up Star Wars in almost every episode.
I can talk goofy. So. You don't even need to make up an alien language for me.
And I know by the time this releases, not all these things are going to be, current or active. So I will say that this is probably going to be released much later, just because we have a bunch of episodes that we've already recorded before that we really like and we want to release. So with that in mind, which one of those job titles would you like to go for?
CEO of Bluebell, or a checker, a bagger or a checker at Walmart?
A checker at Walmart.
Or Donald Trump's...
The midnight shift. The midnight shift at Walmart.
Ooh, or how about that one? Or Donald Trump's PR advisor?
Yeah, his presidential campaign personal advisor.
Let's go for... I'm kind of tempted to do the Bluebell one. But let's go wild and let's do Trump's... Let's do this. Let's be Trump's PR for his campaign, right? I'm the PR guy for Trump's campaign?
Sure.
You're fired.
No, well, not necessarily the PR. You're his personal advisor.
What's the pay on this one?
Knowing Trump, this is probably the highest paying one of all the three that I just gave.
That's the one I'm applying for. It's lots of travel, right? The benefits are travel, high pay. Get to stand next to Trump. Okay. We'll do this one. Who's interviewing me? Is Donald Trump interviewing me?
No, I'm interviewing you.
Oh, but so you work for Donald Trump. And
I work
you're
for Donald Trump now. Well,
but Daniel, what's up? I'm a shoo-in. Give me the job. It's me.
I don't know you. So I work for Donald Trump, and this is B applying for.
Is this a face-to-face interview, or is it like over? Because if it's like over Skype, I wouldn't be wearing pants, so I would be sure not to stand. Because if I stood,
I don't have any response to that. That's my response. I have no response to that.
All right, I should let you go face-to-face.
Is that like the common Skype interview like stereotype? As long as you just got to wear a really nice like jacket and tie and everything, but no pants.
So they're not going to say, "Hey, show me around your room or house or your underwear collection or anything." Or because like imagine if you're anyway. I don't want to go that far, but as a disclaimer here, the last job interview I had was about 4.5 years ago, and this is how the job interview went. It was an hour-long interview. My boss, my current boss, I spoke out of that interview. I spoke maybe a total of 5-6 minutes. I didn't even really get interviewed. I remember we sat down at
it was more him
exactly,
just telling
and I didn't
you
even understand that he didn't even sell it well. He's like, "This is a horrible job," and I'm thinking, "Well, what, is it time to leave now?" And we're at a table outside of a Starbucks, and he just starts talking. He's like, "Hey, back in 1986, and I'm like, "Is this part of the interview? Is there a quiz?" So my interview skills are rusty. But let's go. Let's do it. They're a little rusty. They're a lot rusty.
Is that?
And I get to tell my boss like the piece of my mind, and like I just kind of go. I just tell it like it is. I go, "Look, anyway, we'll do this."
Okay, so this is important for some of these job interview questions, and I kind of forgot about this. In order for you to apply for one of these positions, I have to specify what job you currently hold. So because you chose to be Trump's head presidential campaign advisor, your previous job is going to be one of the other two that I mentioned. Your previous job, or where you're currently working right now, you are currently a checker at Walmart.
So
that is your current job. You are so you're talking like big bucos of money, increase. Yeah. You're going from checker at Walmart to Trump's personal like GS3 presidential campaign assistant.
It's basically okay, yeah,
exactly.
So if it was, I thought about the whole Bluebell thing, and I could be like, "Look, you just listeria rhymes with hysteria, so if we could just somehow flip that, all this hysteria about listeria needs to be have a bowl of ice cream." I don't even know anymore.
Are you trying to come up with a campaign? I didn't say you were marketing. I said you were the CEO. But that's okay. You already passed that one up. You passed up the opportunity.
I'm a checker at Walmart going for Trump. Got it.
You're a checker at Walmart.
Am I wearing my Walmart outfit? Like I got my shirt on that says Walmart checker. My name is B.
You are wearing a suit and tie that you bought from Walmart, so it doesn't quite fit you right. It's just kind of, you got it on sale. You got an employee discount.
Dude,
you just walked in
Walmart suits.
You just walked into Trump Tower, and now it's interview time. Here we go. All right, so B, thanks for stopping by. I hope you didn't have any trouble making your way through New York. I know it's pretty busy, crazy traffic. Did you get a taxi on your way?
No, actually, so I took the train into Union Station. I'm supposing that's roughly circa where they are. Oh no, into Penn Station. Union Station is in DC. Already shows how stupid I am. So no, sir.
You're off to a great start, by the way.
Actually, I took the train into Penn Station, and then I walked here because I wanted to be. I actually enjoy the exercise, and I wanted to be familiar with the area. And since I'm coming from the DC area, actually I'm coming from San Antonio area where I'm a bagger, I wanted to familiarize myself with the New York area, and possibly if I'm going to live in this area, I wanted to see what was around here.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Am I supposed to take this seriously? Like I'm like
I don't know. Okay, so maybe I should
we take this seriously. The listeners are going to be like boring.
Exactly. So I'm going to put a pause right here. So first off, you get to since I just told, so you got to pick what the job you're going for, and I purposefully didn't let you pick the job that you came from, because now I want you to create your own character. Okay, you came from as a Walmart checker, so you get to create your own background. So this isn't necessarily the Brendan background. This is whatever you want it to be. Because this is going to be important for some of these questions. Some of these questions have to do with that. So, without further ado,
do I get like 3 lifelines or something like that? Like if I give a bad answer, I can go like, wait, hold on, time out, scratch that one, go again.
I don't know. Do you get lifelines in normal interviews? Because I don't feel like you do. So I feel like the X-nay on the lifelines. In fact, I'm giving you help right now just by pausing the conversation. So let's dive back into it. So first off, so Brendan, so you want to be Donald Trump's personal presidential campaign advisor. First off, tell me a little bit about some of your strengths.
I have to say I was born in St. Petersburg, Russia, and I know a lot of Russian. So it'd be good if he becomes president. He is going to have to speak with Putin. And I know Russian, and I can tell him all the ins and outs of Russia. and be able to tell him when Putin is lying to him, and Putin is wants to invite him to go hunt bare-chested with bear, and other things around that, to where the beautiful ladies are when we go to St. Petersburg and Moscow. And I know relationships. I have cousin in Ukraine and down in Moldova and Uzbekistan, all the Stan area. I have lots of friends. So I am international man. Trump is international man. And so I can do the relationships, at least with parts of country that are not too positive relationships with United States of America right now. So I can help him to smooth over these areas that he is in. Also, I went to international school of KGB, but I was kicked out. I mean, I was not kicked out for eating too much. This is stupid.
Walmart is losing a really good employee right now.
That's right. I'm a Walmart checker. But so I left KGB to come to America to pursue dream. And in the meantime, while I go to school to pursue a law degree, I am working nighttime, midnight shift as a checker, bagger at one of the great capitalist franchises here of the United States of America, which is Walmart. So now I am familiar with both worlds of sort of a Soviet socialism and the government that is behind that. And I could even tell him the ins and outs of how, now I know the media will not tell you this, but of how the mafia and the mob runs certain parts of Russia and Russian business, and what society things you need to be said. And now I've seen capitalists function here in the United States. And so I see how in interacting with people on a daily basis. So I know all kinds of different people, especially Walmart at midnight. You see ladies that are dressed in bikini with flippers. I have no idea why, what they are doing at midnight, dressed such, or man in a robot suit. But I have to have a straight face with all of them and treat them all with dignity and respect that they are due. I cannot judge any of them. So that is sort of how my role would be with Mr. Trump.
You said I could do
any persona.
It's true. That's true. I feel like you answered probably like at least 6 of these questions just in that little rant right there. So let me ask you a few of these other questions. So tell me, what are 3 things? What is your name?
No, the B is actually short for Bratislav, but a lot of Americans can't pronounce Bratislav, so I just Bratislav. Or you can just call me B for Bratislav, or Boris. This sounds good. It'd be all right, Boris. Boris is good.
Boris?
Like moose and squirrel. Yeah, I don't have moose or squirrel, but I have hunted with Putin. I'm sorry, I just lied with you. I've never hunted with Putin, but I did hunt moose. I've never hunted squirrel, but yeah, just Boris. This is Borislav.
Boris, before we continue, I should let you know you're making me feel a little uncomfortable, and this is my office. Boris, tell me, what are 3 things that your former manager would like you to improve on?
Well, probably my English skills need to be improved a little bit more, because so a lot of it I learned from watching BBC. So I have sort of British English as opposed to American English. So I can say pin and when I mean attack. So that needs to be improved on. Also, I believe I can be a bit judgmental, as I say, with dealing with the robot man who comes by to buy cantaloupe at midnight. I can inwardly be judging him, but I have to reserve all of those judgments. And so I think he would also like for me to improve on probably how I word certain things, because I can speak frankly at times when I should probably be a bit more diplomatic, as you say.
Okay. So tell me, as a personal advisor for Trump, this would require quite a bit of travel. Are you?
Oh yes, so I actually enjoy traveling. So I've tried, like I said, I've was former KGB, so they had me do several stints in Northern Africa as well as Eastern, I was about to say Eastern Bloc, but former Eastern sort of Europe, as well as I did 48 years in Antarctica, which was very cold. And I'm
48
a
years
lot
in Antarctica.
older than I look. So if you see on my application there, my birth date, since you are in Antarctica, you're not at the part of the world that spins properly. So in fact, as the Earth year goes around, it is slower for you. So you age slowly, and since it is so cold, the skin does not lose sort of humidity and the wrinkle up. So you age much, much slower. So I would actually recommend to Trump maybe a few weeks a year, possibly a month, if he could take that to vacation home in Antarctica, and it would preserve like a rejuvenation for him. I know people tend to make jokes about his hair, but if he had did this, perhaps like, say he spends a month there a year, after 5-6 years, there will be no more jokes about his hair. They will actually say like, oh, I need to know his secret now. And what he can do now are commercials for Antarctica, and he can actually open up like a spa system there. And now he has new business for people coming down to Antarctica, where they will wrestle polar bear and dine with seal and watch the birds come and steal their food if they are outside during the daylight hours. So you have to have like a canopy, because the birds will come and they dive bomb you and attack you. Not the pelicans or the penguins, but they're like birds. They are birds. They're just the bird. I don't know what kind of birds they are. They're large pterodactyl-like birds, and they will eat an entire beetle, like a Volkswagen beetle. They will eat the beetle. Or they just dive down, pick it up, and they have pterodactyl beak, which is so large it eats like an alligator.
Okay.
I don't know what direction. I'm like, is this just? What am I supposed to be doing with it? I'm like, do I take this seriously, or do I? You're like, at this point, you're like, you have failed the interview, but you're so entertaining. I'm going to keep asking.
You have failed the interview, but you're so entertaining. I just want to keep asking you questions. So one of Trump's probably one of his most infamous, maybe not infamous, probably famous. Yeah, I'd say famous. Well, probably one of Trump's most famous things is how he fires people. He's always been known for just being very direct and just, you're fired, and just, straightforward. And this is actually one of these questions. This is a real question on this as far as one of the 50 most commonly asked in interview questions is, how would you fire someone?
Well, I think it depends, right? What about how they be fired for, mate? It's just like a blatant disregard of, if I open up sort of like a copier cabinet and they're smoking crack cocaine, it's just straight out, you pack your things, get out now. But I think this has got to be handled with a bit more delicacy, depending upon what the issue is. But if this is someone that we've addressed multiple times, saying, look, we've had an issue with this and you need to rectify this, then you basically tell them you're out. Now, here's the deal, though. Working with Trump, I'm sure there's like sensitive information there, very similar things like that. So what you probably want to have security, not in the room when you bring the Mrs. or Mr. into the room to fire them. You have them outside the room so that when they're fired, you actually bring the security in to escort them out, or at least to their desk to collect their belongings and be ushered out. But you don't want to make a scene of it. So let's go back some. So you actually call them in. So let's call them in your office. And you'd ask them, do you know why you're here? And they'll probably say no, or whatever the answer may be. You then bring up their sort of history about, look, here's the deal. What do you have in response to that? Depending on their response, you could fire them right then and there. But again, it's a bit broad of a question because it really depends on the history with this person and what the offense is.
Okay. From Russian to Australian. The most colorful person I've ever interviewed. So tell me, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, if I've been working with Mr. Trump, I can see myself continuing to be with Mr. Trump, because this is not actually a position that I want to actually come in and then 2, 3, 4, 5 years later split. I actually want to be here with Mr. This is the whole reason that I'm actually being here. It's not as if I want to be at Walmart checking groceries for 5 years. In fact, we've gone through that already. I'm doing this so that I can finish my schooling. However, if Mr. Trump is like, look, forget the schooling, just be with me the full time, I would prefer that. In a sense, this is sort of my dream job. So what I'd love to see is being here for 5 years. And maybe not necessarily quite exactly the way here is, but this position and furthering Trump's sort of, shall we say, if for lack of a better word, his empire. That's where I'd rather be in 5 years here.
I don't know if you're trying to be Australian or British, but either way, this is... Oh, British, okay. But either way, this is a much better version. And you have a much better chance of getting this job. You're a lot more direct when you're British. I don't think we can drag this through the mud anymore. I really just have to ask like a final question and then just like, we'll ask one final question and we're just going to have to move on. So here's one of the final questions here. Why should we hire you?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you don't hire me, I'll fly back to Dublin. I'll grab a load of my friends from Temple Bar down there, southwestern Ireland, down around Cork Street and area. And so we'll just fly back and we'll pummel you bloody hell to death!
Oh my God.
Get all Roy Keane on you. That's why it's silly, mate. I mean, can't you see that I'm obviously the best candidate for this job? I mean, silly to be doing that.
Okay, well, Bullio or Bree or Brenovan or whatever your name was, you're hired. Great job. Oh my God.
So is that one of the never threaten the interviewer? Is that one of the four?
No, I didn't know that. That was not in there, but I'm pretty sure if I keep reading this article, I'm sure I'll find something in there. Did you want to know what some of the other questions were?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So here are some of the other questions, because there's a lot of questions here, and I'm sorry, I just don't feel like we can drag that through the mud.
No, that's fine. I was like, do I be serious? How many accents can I do?
It's all right. It's all right. If nobody else enjoyed it, I enjoyed it. It made me laugh. So that's all that really matters, right?
That's right.
So a couple things, like a couple questions. A lot of them have to do with your previous employment, which I found was interesting. In fact, there's a whole section on here that has to do with your previous employment. Like, why do you want to leave your current company? If I'm
a Walmart cashier, that's fairly easy. That's a fairly easy question to answer. Well, so I don't necessarily mean that in like a derogatory way, right? But if you are, why do you want to leave this job? Come on, seriously?
Sure.
Do I seriously need to answer that?
It's question? Interesting because some of these questions, like I almost feel like they're repeating themselves.
Well,
like,
do they give like answers for them? Like, hey, these are the most common.
No, not necessarily. They're just they say here are the 50 best questions. One of them I thought was really interesting. What is the name of our CEO? I wasn't going to ask you that because you just would have been like Donald Trump and that would have been easy. But in all seriousness, I don't think I've ever had anybody ask that. But that is true. If you continue on reading in this article, it actually tells you one of the first things it says is do your homework. You need to know about the company that you're about to be hired.
So I think his name is Bill O'Brien, and he is the head coach of the Houston Texans. And he does this thing very similar to this. He has all of his players in a room, and he goes, hey, this is so and so. He's he's the owner of the Texans. This is so and so. He's the general manager. This is so and so. He's the right. And so when he's done with this, he points to people in the room, players. So he's got all the rookies and all the veterans in there. He goes, who is the owner of the Houston Texans? Who is the assistant quarterback coach for us? And then he'll point at somebody and he'll say like, Skippy, who is that? Right? So he'll point at a rookie and he'll point at a veteran. And then he'll point at a veteran and he'll point at a rookie. Right? And he's like, so he's trying to create this, everybody knows Houston Texan kind of thing. And I was like, that's really cool. And that's a football team. You would think, well, who cares who the assistant press secretary or speechwriter is for the thing? But he is emphasizing this is a team and family. Yeah,
exactly. And it makes a difference, So, no, I can definitely see where that question is coming from. Some of these questions I just haven't heard. Like this one really kind of threw me off when I read it. What makes you uncomfortable? I've never heard anybody I don't know, maybe just in today's society, I just don't feel like an interview person would ask you, like, what makes you uncomfortable? Tell me, like, give me, like, let's just open up your life to me type of thing. You know, I feel like the purpose of an interview, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty self-explanatory. You like that question?
I do like
you think
that
an
question.
Interview
Not
person
like
should ask
when
that?
I'm being asked that, but I think I think that's a good question. You know, I would respond.
God, I'd get stumped by that, like in a heartbeat.
When I'm walking in my socks and I step in the kitchen where it was wet. That is pet peeve number 1, man. Now my socks are wet. I'm like,
that's a pet peeve, though. That's not what makes you uncomfortable.
Well, it does make me uncomfortable because my socks are wet. And so
you know what makes me uncomfortable is the fact that you interview with a suit and tie but no pants.
But I don't know if you have pants on. You're sitting behind a desk.
That's true. You don't know. I could have been
So
interviewed.
can I ask you a question? Hey, so what did you... let me ask you a question. Can you stand up and show me if you have pants on? Could I do that?
That would be a really weird question to ask someone that you're being
How
interviewed by.
about in the middle of the interview, I just open up a book and start reading?
I don't think you're going to get the job. I think that's what it is. Unless the job was for a librarian. Then you might get the job. That might be the only time.
Dude, what are you doing? Can you tell me how this book ends? No. Well, then I don't want to work here.
Aww. Well, Brendan, I'm sorry. I really don't have any follow-up to any of that. I didn't know how that was going to go. Oh,
I thought that was that was actually really well done. I thought it was good because you picked 3 positions, right? You're like your A, B, or C.
I wanted to give you the opportunity to know what you were being hired for.
No, I thought that was really good.
Any job.
As opposed to like, hey, this is generic interview number 2. Because like I said, when I interviewed for my current job, I had no idea. He just kept going, the job is horrible. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. What is this job? This is awful.
What is this horrible job that you keep speaking of? But
because it's so stressful, or this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm unemployed. I need a job. So I guess the answer is yes. I'll take it.
I think at the end of the day, that's what really matters is making sure you're employed. So it doesn't matter how bad. Oh. Well, Brendan, do you have any follow-ups? Anything else that you want to say towards the end of this?
Thank you for listening, everybody. We really enjoy having you all as AKA
thanks for hanging in there with all this with the Russian accent and then what I thought was Australian, but I guess I was wrong. It was supposed to be British. Either that means you're really bad at British impersonation, or I'm really bad at telling the difference between an Australian and a British accent.
But see, that's the thing is just we now all of our Australian listeners and British listeners, the massive amounts that we have, are all like the Australian ones are going, that wasn't Australian, and the British ones are going, it definitely wasn't British.
That was definitely not British. Well, B, if you don't have any follow-ups for our fans out there, for the people who do listen to us, again, thank you guys for taking the time to actually listen in. Be sure if you want to ask us a question to shoot us a message on Twitter, even though both Brendan and I suck at Twitter. In fact, Brendan never logs on. That's how much we suck at it.
I do know social media.
We will still be there to answer questions. In fact, we'd love to have some questions on the show. So if you have a question, you can reach us. Our Twitter handle is Texas Waffles. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, please be sure to give us a rating and a review on iTunes. It really does help us out and lets us know how we're doing. So, but until next time, hopefully next time with less Russian and British accents all over the place. Until next time, thanks again for tuning in. You all have a wonderful day.